Do you hear the ghost? Probably my mother saying, "You better answer this question correctly. I'm the reason." I am a drag performer. I always say I'm drop dead gorgeous, larger than life, world famous drag superstar Jackie Beat. And I've been performing for over 35 years.
Why do you call yourself the world's biggest bitch?
I'm really not.
I love bitches anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun,
the
they're
character.
interesting.
Yeah, I just think that I can get it all out in the character, and then in my real life, I can be nice.
Hello, this is Pearl Lam Podcast, and now I'm at Peninsula LA. I have the pleasure to have this fabulous Jackie Beats with me. And Jackie, can you tell the audience about your journey, about yourself?
My journey? Well, it was over an hour drive here. Is that the journey you're talking about?
Yes.
My journey. I love
Your
that word.
journey.
Well, I am a drag performer. I always say I'm drop dead gorgeous, larger than life, world famous drag superstar Jackie Beat. And I've been performing for over 35 years before, Drag Race, the television program starring RuPaul. Before that, and before it went kind of mainstream, there used to be about 6 or 7 of us.
Oh, only 6 or 7.
Well, I'm just saying there were 6 or 7 drag
drags.
stars like me, Lady Bunny, Sherry Vine, Varla Jean Merman, Coco Peru. So if there was a part in a movie or, a big gay pride celebration, or they wanted a drag queen to come to Europe, for a party, it was us. And now there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
I love drag queens. I've always loved drag queens performances.
I hate them. No, I'm just kidding.
How did you decide that you want to be a drag queen?
Well, I think it's sort of a rite of passage, or it used to be back in the day. Again, before I knew that
Never
earring.
mind.
I know. You
Listen,
said
you
only
have-
wear one. Punky,
Yeah, you have
funky.
too many diamonds on your earrings. You're too glamorous.
I'm too creative. Those earrings were not earrings. They were actually part of a necklace that I took apart, and then I made them into earrings. So it's my own fault.
You are creative.
Well, let me explain.
You're artistic and creative.
Back in the day, before Drag Race and before drag was mainstream, gay men, on Halloween would dress up and
yes,
go
of
to
course.
West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I did it with my friends, and I kind of did it with a different attention to detail, if you will. Like, we all dressed up, and they thought it was funny, and I was like trying to look good. And I had, fingernails and,
So you have a total look even during that time.
Yeah. And then I kind of dawned on me that when you're in drag, you're neither male nor female, but you're kind of both. And people don't take what you say very seriously, so you can sneak in political stuff. You can pretty much say whatever you want. The world has changed.
Very sensitive.
People
now.
are very sensitive
Yeah,
these days.
very
But
sensitive.
I kind of found my voice.
But to be a drag, yes, you put your costumes, you put everything together, and you drag. But it's not just that, because you write and you can rap. And this morning I've been spending time looking at your YouTube video. My God, you really can write the lyrics and you rap so well. So
Well, thank you.
So you can't just, dress up like a drag and going out. You're actually a performer and also writer as well.
Well, some people can just dress up, and, if you're on TV and you have the catchphrase, people get excited to see somebody that they've seen on TV. But I always say, can you pick this performer up and put them in a completely different venue with an audience that doesn't even know who they are, has never seen them on TV, and can they be entertaining? And a lot of these new drag queens, they can't. I sing live.
You
I'm
sing
funny.
live. Yeah, you're
I'm in the
funny.
Writers Guild. I've been in movies. Like, I'm an entertainer, and I
And
studied.
you're very quick.
I'm
Whenever people give you an interview, you just answer, just like, and it's funny. It's
And then, I
hysterical.
mean,
And you're
again, and
fabulous.
so, thank you. I don't want to gloss over all that. But a lot of these drag queens today, and I know this is going to sound like I'm bitter, but they can't even put a sentence together. It's like you are an entertainer. Like, what is going on here?
Maybe they just want to look pretty.
I think that's a part of it. I think
Yeah.
it's like
It's just
YouTube,
want to be
social
pretty
media.
with social.
And they put
Yeah.
filters. Listen, I use filters. I use a coffee filter. I use a used coffee filter. That's how I look so good on social media. But no, I mean, I feel like I've studied theater and
Oh,
I'm a
you say it.
writer, and yeah, I'm just very proud that, I can sing rock and roll. Like you said, I can
Ooh,
rap.
yes,
I
you can
can,
rap. I saw you rapping 2 videos. My God, you rap well, and also those words are so satiric.
dirty,
Yeah,
dirty. No.
dirty. Some of them is it's funny. You're talking about penises. There's one.
Yes, that's a huge part of my act, no pun intended. I keep looking at this camera, but this is actually my camera.
Yeah.
At a certain age, the side view isn't so great. So let me focus on my camera. No, yeah, I kind of tap into the 12-year-old in everybody. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh my God, that's nasty, that's naughty.
It's so
Yeah.
naughty.
And some people, they think like, oh, they'll be like, I want to go see your show. And I'm like, well, it's very dirty. And they're like, oh, I love it. But they have no idea. Like, I take it as a challenge because I've written hundreds of song parodies.
Yeah. Why are you? Why do you call yourself the world biggest bitch?
Well, you
Are
gotta
you really the world biggest bitch? Come on.
I'm really not.
No,
Out of drag,
exactly.
no, out of drag, I'm a total sweetheart.
Yeah, I love bitches anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah, they're
it's
fun.
the
They're
character.
interesting. It's all about interesting. I love bitches. So
Yeah, I just think that I can get it all out in the character, and then in my real life, I can be nice.
so you have another personality to go out.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not too different than my own. Here's the thing people don't realize comedy, when you really boil it down, is just focusing on the negative in a
Absolutely.
funny, creative
Yes,
way.
yes.
We don't need to tell jokes about sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
No,
I need to tell jokes about some of the ugly stuff in the world.
absolutely.
And I used to write for Joan Rivers, and nobody told Joan Rivers not to tell a Holocaust joke. And people would be laughing in spite of themselves. They'd be like, I don't want to laugh at this joke. This is about something horrible.
You used to also write for Margaret Cho, Elvira, and Rosie O'Donnell, right? And how was those collaboration like?
Well, I included Rosie O'Donnell on that list because I wrote a song for Roseanne
Ah,
and Rosie O'Donnell to sing together called "I Got You, Bitch," which is the Sonny and Cher song "I Got You, Babe." And so yeah, if I write one thing and you do it on stage, then you make it into my resume.
yeah,
So,
of course.
but
Yeah.
no, I love writing for. I always say I write for all the loudmouth bitches. Like
Love it.
Roseanne, Joan Rivers, Margaret Cho, Sandra Bernhardt. Like they're all just. I love a mouthy broad.
Wow. So when you were young, did you like? Did you go?
Are you insinuating I'm not still young?
I'm talking about
I'm just kidding.
like under 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So 20 years ago.
When you were a child,
Yes.
did you go into your mother's closet and start stealing her clothes and start dressing up?
I honestly don't remember doing that, but I do remember they had in their bedroom, my mom and dad had a big old school dresser, and the top drawer was the skinny little one that was like for cufflinks and like my mom's jewelry. And I used to kind of marvel at the jewelry. I don't remember actually putting clothes on or
No.
like walking around in her shoes, but I did do impersonations, of
Oh, you
Cher.
really?
Well,
I
I
love
felt
it.
like maybe I felt like I didn't need the outfit,
Mm-mm.
but I would do like Carol Burnett and, Cher and, just funny
Oh, yeah.
and funny commercials, and my brother and sister, who were older than me, they always kind of embraced it and knew that I was like a little entertainer and be like,
Because you love performing since you were young.
yeah.
And then,
Well, I've also talked about this before. My mom was also very depressed. So, as the little gay boy, it was my job to make her laugh or make
so
her smile and try to
sweet.
entertain her. And, like, Mommy, don't be in a bad mood. Here, look,
So
I'll be funny.
it's so funny.
Yeah.
But how did this comedian streak of you came? I mean, come
Well,
out?
also, if you're,
Because you need to be really clever to write these comedy, you know, and very quick to answer questions.
there's
So
a
is it?
ghost. Do you hear the ghost? Probably my mother saying, you better answer this question correctly. I'm the reason. No, listen, both my parents were very smart. Both my parents were very funny.
Oh, really?
Growing up in Scottsdale, Arizona in the 60s and 70s, my parents' best friends were a gay couple named Bob and Jim. So there was no shame and it was very accepted. So, as far as being funny, I think it's partly because I grew up with a sense of humor and also not to,
It takes a lot of confidence to have a
well,
sense
if
of
you're a
humor.
little gay boy
Yeah,
in Arizona, you get bullied
of
and you
course,
quickly
of course.
learn if you make somebody laugh, they won't beat you up.
You can get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you really think that you want to have this profession?
Oh, I never in a million years would have guessed this.
No, right?
It really came from doing it that one Halloween
Just one Halloween.
and then being like, oh my God, this is like a bottomless pit of creativity. And I say this often, there's drag kings, which are women that dress like men. Now, whatever floats your boat, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but one of the reasons I chose drag is because women in this society and in show business and everywhere get to express themselves more than men. Whether it's like a torch song, this very campy song, all about, how the man treating her wrong, or it's hair and makeup and the outfit and the shoes and the jewelry. Like there's so much more
That you can express.
that you can have fun with and
Yeah.
express. Men have a wall of machismo. So if you're a drag king, and again, I've seen amazing drag kings, but to me, it's like Sinatra, Elvis, a rapper. It's about putting a wall up of machismo. And sometimes that's funny for a
Yeah.
woman to be like this misogynistic, sort of. But for me, I gravitate towards everything feminine, which is a little weird to say even out loud these days. What is feminine? It's all societal. When I'm online and somebody's saying like, oh my God, that little boy shouldn't be wearing that, sometimes they'll have like a video of a little boy dressing up in like, or in his mommy's heels.
Yeah.
People will be like, oh my God, that little boy. And I'm like, this is all fake, right? You realize this is all man-made. Like we were not, like cavemen didn't wear pants.
Exactly.
Cavemen did not wear pants. At some point, we decided this is what a man wears and this is what a woman wears. And then some people will complain and say like, oh, your drag is offensive to women.
Why?
And I'm like, what woman comes out of the womb with triple eyelashes and 2 hours of makeup?
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with
I
like an actual
absolutely-
female.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, from young, I love watching drag queen show. Love drag queens. Always.
And you got the best.
And I got you. You're fabulous.
Well, let me
as I
just say
said.
one thing regarding like that you've always loved drag queens. There's
Yeah.
a certain type of person in the world. I will never understand people who want less. Do you know what I mean? Like less color, less culture, less fun, less, you know what I mean? Like these people who are like build a wall. Now listen, this country is different than it was 150 years ago. Maybe we do need some new rules and we need to rethink things so we can actually take care of the people who are here.
Yeah.
But the people who use, can I say a bad word?
Of course you can.
Like for a politician to say shithole countries. Like, do you have any idea? And I know what he's talking about. He's talking about like Mexico,
yes.
Africa. Do you have any idea how amazing those cultures are and what they have given the world?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I,
Mexican culture is
yes,
amazing.
so I don't understand these
Oh,
people who want less. Like, I want every kind of food. I want to taste every kind of
yes,
food.
you're very adventurous.
Yes, yes. And I want all these different languages. If I walked into a restaurant and you see these videos, somebody's ordering a pizza and they're like, why is the TV on a Spanish? They start an argument. Like, it's not, first of all, they own the business. It's none of your business.
Yeah.
But I just like more different kinds of people.
You
And there are people who are fearful of that.
you want differences. You want diversity. You want
Yes.
to learn.
How could you
Yeah,
not celebrate
of
diversity?
course.
You have one life. And you know what? Those people will, I always say this in my show. I'm like, if you're the type of person who believes in build a wall, then you don't even get to eat a taco. You don't even get to enjoy that culture at the simplest level.
How do you identify and the relationship between drags and LGBTQ plus? How do you
Well,
see this?
I do have a song. First of all, I have a song, LGBTQ and A.
Yeah.
There's an old song by Tammy Wynette. She's a country singer,
Uh,
and it's called Divorce, but she spells it out and she goes, "Our divorce becomes final today." Well, I changed it to LGBTQ and A. Sounds desperate and sad, like because they keep adding letters. So I do have a song
yes.
about that. But a while ago, I performed in Palm Springs. And there was a table of these brittle old white ladies.
Yeah. Wow.
I
They're
know who
very
they
conservative.
listen, yes, because there are pockets of that. And I'm
Yeah.
sure thought they were seeing a drag queen who was going to lip sync Celine Dion. That's not me. So I was being very political and very in your face. And, my
Yeah.
songs are dirty. And if it's not dirty, it's, political.
Political.
So they just seemed really uncomfortable. And I went home and the song from Sweet Charity, "Hey, Big Spender."
Yes, of course.
Well, I
Dawn.
changed it to straight cisgender. And it was all about how, like, you can't come to a drag show and watch the clown and escape from your boring, miserable life and then go vote against me. I'm a gay man under all this.
Absolutely.
And this whole thing about like grooming and indoctrinating children, give me a break. I became a drag queen because I don't want to be anywhere near children. If my friends have children, I think they're adorable. I can appreciate children.
Play with them.
But like,
Yeah.
do you know where you find a drag queen? At a gay bar at 2 a.m. There ain't no kids.
No,
So
absolutely not.
it's completely they're just trying to redirect because we know who the real problem is in that. And I don't want to get too heavy, but it's
But
kind
you
of
can.
serious. Don't
This is a
attack an entire.
podcast. You can do as heavy as you want.
But like,
I
why
understand.
why
I
are you
understand.
blaming this community?
And also, this judgment is so unfair. Let me ask you. I mean, throughout your career,
Mhm.
and since you were a gay boy, have you been suffering discrimination? And has the society changes? And so now people they embrace you because you have to drag is so mainstream now.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have any discrimination
Well,
or anything.
There's
Right?
good points and bad points to it
Yeah.
being mainstream, especially if deep down you're kind of punk rock.
Okay.
I want people to be a little shocked. Now it's like they look over at you and they're like, huh,
No, but your
which is
song,
fine.
but your song is pretty shocking for the main crowd,
Well,
right?
thank you. Yeah, no, listen, I think it's great. It's like anything. I think it's great that two men can walk down the street holding hands and
I think it's wonderful.
nobody throws a
Yeah,
rock at them.
yeah, wonderful.
But you do lose just a little something. And it's better that we don't get attacked. But back when it was kind of a secret society and a private club, and it was a little more artistic, like you had to be creative. Sometimes if I'm asked to do something and I'm not allowed to cuss, I'm not allowed to use bad words, I need to be more creative. And
Yeah.
sometimes things get even funnier.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So back in the day when gay and drag wasn't as accepted, there was something strangely more creative about it. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
Like
because they push you and you have to think other ways to
yeah. And
and
like I said, it
and to
was more like a
circumvent it,
private
yeah.
club, you know?
But nowadays, when you perform, you don't go to private clubs anymore, right? Because it's pretty open.
Oh, I do everything. I'm like a prostitute. Whoever gives me money, I show up. You know, brunches, which is like 90% straight women, gay clubs, dance clubs. We do theater. We do the Golden Girls, that TV show.
I read that you are very inspired by B.A. Arthur.
Yeah, B.
Right.
Arthur.
B.A.
Yeah.
Arthur. Thought, why? Why? Give me a reason. Why were you so inspired by her?
She is just very intelligent and very dry and very funny. And she's also tall and slightly mannish. She just seems like a tough broad. Like, again, another one of those loudmouth broads that I really gravitate towards.
And that's why you have a personality of her.
And I play her when we do
Yeah.
it live on stage,
I love
and it
it.
comes so naturally. I have to talk like this. You have to give people what they think they remember. She didn't really talk like this, but this is what they think they remember.
So, and also, when did you transform your career and start writing for like TV, Fashion Police, and then the other one is Tripping the Writ, the Riff?
Oh yeah, that was a science fiction animated series a long time ago, and I wrote an episode of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am proud of the fact that I mean, in Hollywood, it's very difficult to get your foot in the door,
Mm.
especially if that foot is in a high heel, size
Yeah.
12. And so I'm proud of the fact that I never really like I do the occasional audition,
Yeah.
and maybe somebody will be like, "Oh, you know, will you send in a writing sample?" But for the most part, I have not approached it like, "Please hire me, please love me." You know, like these friends of mine who are actors, they go on these like interviews and auditions, and it's so like, "Please, please." I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's like, you
Yeah.
know, and me, I'm like, I could care less. I'm going to do what I do. And then people come to my shows or they see something online and they're like, oh my God, this person's funny. So I'm proud of the fact that I just do what I do and they gravitate to me. I'm not begging for a job.
Wow.
Somebody says, oh, so and so wants help
But how did
writing.
people know that you can write? You know,
Well,
because you have to have, at least one sample that people knows, one
well,
success before people will know that you can write.
because they know I write my own show. So if they've seen the show or seen a clip from the show, or maybe somebody that works with them saw it. I talk about this all the time, and we've since had a falling out because of our political differences. But years and years and years ago, Roseanne came to see my show, and afterwards she was like, "Oh my God, you're hilarious. I want to work with you." And I've heard that several times,
Wow.
and they never call. The next day she called.
How wonderful.
Yeah, so I ended up writing for her, opening for her. Like we were
Wow.
great friends, and so yeah, credit where credit is due. So people hear about different things.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
When did you learn how to do your makeup?
Well, it
A
was.
drag queen's makeup is really important.
It
So,
is.
and do you make your own dress?
No,
Who
no.
makes
I
dress?
can't do hair, and I can't make.
So do you do your own design and send someone to make it, or
Well, I have a friend who makes all my clothes, and I'll go downtown LA, and I'll buy fabric.
and then you go
And
there
like
and
this fabric, it costs more for me to park my car in downtown LA than this fabric
oh wow,
cost. You know what I
your
mean? Like
leopard tallulah outfit.
it's just very cheap fabric. But she knows my measurements and what I like. I like to pull it in here and have it loose in the back because if you are a big girl and you have a belt all the way around you, it's not cute. So she knows how to make it, and I just buy, and I do like matchy, hence the
Yeah.
hat.
So, but she made hats as well.
The hat existed, but she put the fabric on
Fabrics
it.
in.
Yeah.
And then but from very beginning you don't have the same person,
No, no,
right?
no, no.
So from very beginning you go and buy.
Yes, you go buy stuff and you try to make it work. I used to go to Lane Bryant, which is like a store for big ladies. I used to call it Plain Giant. And I would buy like a nightgown, a short little like, something to
Sexy, like.
sleep in. And then it had a matching bed jacket because I don't
Ah.
want to show my shoulders and then you have to shave everything. But then I would go buy feathers and have the feathers added to the sleeves and the bottom. So it was a little like customized, but no.
And then
Back in the day I had no idea my makeup was so bad.
so then you gradually evolve, or how do you do even the first time? You look at a picture and then you try to do
Yeah.
your makeup.
Yeah. And then you figure out that you have to shave your eyebrows off if you want to do this properly. And you learn what works and what doesn't. And like, I see these drag queens and they have these skinny little lips. And let me tell you something, out of drag, I hardly have any lips. But you need to paint a big lip and you need to have eyebrows that are higher. Like everything needs to be
Really?
exaggerated.
Wow.
Yeah. So you just learn kind of what works. And
But
you
then your jewelries, my God. God, how do you?
yeah.
You make your own jewelries, or
No.
you?
Well,
Because you did make your earrings.
well, this was a necklace or something.
Yeah,
And
you
then
did
I
make your
yeah.
earrings. You buy bits and then you
Yeah.
transform it to
Let me
earrings.
tell you something. Living in Los Angeles is amazing because Santee Alley and downtown LA is all about the most amazing fabric and jewelry and accessories. So I feel bad for anybody. I have friends who live in other cities and they're like, oh, it's nothing like LA. You can find anything and everything.
But your whole personality, your whole persona, from your dressing, from your style, you created it.
Yes. I
And
think it's an amalgamation.
and was
I
it?
mean, it's pretty much just me.
Yeah.
Like this is me. At lunch, I can be funny and entertaining. I mean, not like over the top, like, oh, shut up, it's annoying.
No, I remember just I watched Dr. Jackie. Very funny how
Oh,
you
thank
dress and
you.
everything.
Thank you.
And then so
Well, the thing
everything.
about Dr. Jackie is I specifically I thought if somebody's walking in to get therapy, I wanted to be the least nurturing. Like everything I'm wearing is weird. And even the set is like brutalist and cubist. And everything looks like it might hurt you as opposed to being like, oh, this is such a warm space. So I wear weird things that look like just came from a satanic ritual.
So funny.
Like I just, you're sitting down to, get therapy and
So okay, talking about this Dr. Jackie is an episode that you created,
yes,
and then you invite all the other drag queens to come in
a lot of
interview.
drag queens,
And
comedians,
and
actors and
comedians, yeah.
actresses. Yeah.
And then how many episodes of that do you do?
We've done 2 seasons, 6 episodes per season. And I have to say, the first season was 90% ad lib and 10% scripted, which made it very difficult to edit.
Yes.
And then the second season was the complete opposite. 90% I wrote,
Script. Oh,
and then
wow.
10% like, let's have fun and you
Yeah.
can ad lib and go off script. Yeah. And it's
And-
very, very fun. People
and-
can watch it on Out TV.
Oh, really? And which is more successful, season 1 or season 2?
But I think artistically, I think both have their, pluses. But I think the second season, we kind of figured out what we were doing. And we
It
have
was
such
funny.
amazing guests.
It's funny. And then there was another one about queens, and then someone was asking you about who's the most generous queen and who's not the.
Oh, yeah, I think that was, yeah.
Yes, you see, I did watch
You
everything.
did your
I
homework.
did, of course. Meeting you, I have to do my homework, of course. And what is that? Because you were talking about who is the most generous queen and who's the. You,
Oh, uh-huh. It was just one of those little online,
yeah,
like,
it was quite
they ask
funny.
you 5 or 6
Yeah, it's
questions
quite
or
funny
something. Was
because
it?
yeah, quite funny
Oh,
because
okay.
you are funny.
Who
You
did I
make
say is generous? Oh, Bianca Del Rio.
yeah. He
She
said
really is.
and you said that when you go in and if you like a wig, he would just give you the wig. She would gives everything to you.
Well, I play dumb now. If we're in a show together or she's backstage, I will be like, oh, this wig is so messed up. And she'll be like, get over here. And she'll fix the wig. But yeah, if she has like makeup, I'm like, what is that? And then the next day she'll bring it to me. Or she'll take off a piece of jewelry and just give it to me. Well, she's rich.
Amazing.
She's really rich. Bianca Del Rio.
So let me ask you, and let me ask you, you know, to have a successful career
Hmm.
as a drag queen, I mean, how many? I always see that a drag queen cannot continue with a very long time with a career. Is that right?
Well, there is a little bit. That's one of the things about the popularity and the mainstreaming of it right now is like, you do have your moment. You're on Drag Race, you tour a little bit afterwards, and the really good ones do rise to the top. But it takes a lot of work and you have to actually do something. Again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I don't find it that entertaining to watch a queen just move her lips. You could never go to a comedy club and hand, you know,
Yeah.
the person a CD and say, just push play and I'm going to stand on stage and pretend like these are my jokes.
But I think a lot of drag queens is not just a comedian; they were just performing. I mean, just
Hmm.
singing.
I know,
That's
but is
not.
this 1967? Like, no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Where
know.
you would be like, oh my God, that's a man. And they would pull their wig off at the end to prove that it's a man. That's a parlor trick.
That's a
Like,
long time ago.
would your material work out of drag? And is this just, a bonus?
Yeah.
Like, this is just the high concept character like Pee Wee Herman or Elvira,
Mm-mm-mm.
like just a vehicle. Would the material work? Is it funny without all the drag, or is that your only gimmick? And like I said, can they pick you up and put you in front of an
Yeah.
audience? They could pick me up right now. I'm in a gay club on stage, and God's giant hand picks me up and puts me on a completely straight cruise ship. I could win those people over and make them laugh.
I know.
But
I
not
know.
every
Yeah.
drag queen can do that because it's all about kind of cashing in on their TV fame. I know some queens that have been on Drag Race and we've been on tour in Europe, Australia, and I'm like, what do you do? And then the tour is called Comedy Queens. And I'm like, so what are you doing tonight? Each queen only has to do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the easiest. It's kind of
Very
hard in
easy.
a way, actually. I'm
Why?
used to doing 90 minutes because, like, what song do I pick? 5 minutes is a little difficult. It's like, here's this gorgeous guy. You've got 5 minutes with him. I want some time. But here's my point. I'd be like, what are you doing tonight? And they would be like, oh, I'm just going to wing it. Like,
That's it?
what?
That's it?
Like, I wrote for Joan Rivers. You may watch her and think that she's just winging it because she's so good at what she does. She makes it seem like it's coming off the top of her head. Honey, she had 10 writers writing 10 jokes each. That's 100 jokes to choose from. Then she would pick 5 of the best jokes, and then she would blurt out 3 of them, acting like it just came off the top of her head. You have to
Wow.
plan ahead. You can't just be like, oh, these people love me and they will let me get away with anything, so I'm not going to do any work and I'm just going to go out there and wing it. Tickets were
I
$45,
I
bitch.
agree. I agree. Absolutely agree. And just personally, just want to ask you, how
Yes.
many weeks do you have?
Okay. I probably have like 30, kind of big, colorful, really styled, amazing wigs done by Billy Lamore. If anybody needs a wig, you can
Wow.
find Billy online. Also, an amazing drag performer in addition to a wig stylist, which
Oh,
always kind of helps. If the person is a
yeah.
drag queen, they know, like, oh, this needs to stand up to this, this, and this. But I also have a collection of like weird little wigs that I got like at thrift stores, like
Oh,
like a short gray curly wig. I sometimes like to play funny characters. That's another thing is I get bored. I love to do glamorous, but sometimes I like to do like a weird old lady or like, a housewife who's not very glamorous.
You like to
So,
play different character.
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
bored.
Yeah, and how many dresses do you have? A
It's
glam girl like
it's
you?
bad. It's
And
really bad.
shoes?
Not
Shoes?
tons of shoes, to be
Not
honest.
tons of shoes?
Well, people now I walk out on stage and I'm wearing flats.
Oh yeah, because
Do you know
before you have
do you
the
know how old I am?
no.
I'm 61. So now I wear flats and I have a
Wow.
joke in my show. It's like, Jackie, why are you wearing flats? Because my feet hurt from paving the way, bitch. And if you make a joke like that, and I'm like, also, if you're looking at my feet, I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean? So I'll let the young kids wear the high heels. The
You've
people
done
who,
it enough,
well,
right?
the people who can't sing and aren't very funny and can't put a sentence together, but I'm not bitter. But I do have tons of dresses.
Tons of
Yeah,
dresses.
and not just dresses. I have a little storage unit behind my house in Altadena with racks of clothing for characters like thrift store, ugly
Yeah.
dress, weird this, country. So my friend Sherry Vine does a show called the Sherry Vine Variety Show, and it's the same out TV as Dr. Jackie. And no matter what we need, I've got it. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're going to play this woman who is at the county fair out in the country. And I was like, oh, I have the perfect outfit. It's this denim
Wow.
jumpsuit. Yeah, it's,
So that means that you have a whole collection of 40 years, 30
yeah, 35,
something
35 years.
years,
Yeah,
and you all save up, and so at any time
yeah.
you can just pick up anything, you can just wear
Pretty
it.
much, pretty much. Now, I
Bravo.
think I mentioned this to you. My very favorite movie is Carrie, the original
Yeah.
from 1976. And the reason is because the moral of that story, the point of that movie is don't mess with the freak. You never know.
Yeah,
Be
exactly,
nice.
exactly. Yeah.
So a friend of mine is doing a parody of Carrie later today. That's why I booked this to make the most of the makeup. Two birds with one stone. So I'm playing the mother, Piper Laurie, Margaret White. She's the religious, crazy lady with the wild hair. Yesterday, I was looking through my things trying to figure out what to wear, and I found like 6 different options. And yeah, and
Wow.
the hair, and like, I found a big cross necklace. I just hit the microphone. I'm very unprofessional. It's the caffeine. So yeah, you got to be ready and you have to be organized.
Of course, of course. I was watching YouTube, as I told you this morning,
Hmm.
to learn more things about you. And then I find out most of these videos was like 16, 17 years ago. Why? Why don't you have any update
Well,
of
because I feel like I was a little bit of a trailblazer. Like I was one of the first drag queens to do YouTube and make these song parodies and make music videos. And I've kind of moved on. Like there's a way to monetize it, but you have to stay on it. Does that make
yeah,
sense? Like
absolutely, it makes sense.
everybody's doing it now. When I did it 16 years ago, I was
The
one of
only
only a
one, yeah.
handful. And we could be popular and it could get a million hits, but now everybody's making funny videos and everybody's, rewriting songs. So I've just kind of moved on. I'd rather do a live show, I'd rather
Absolutely.
do Dr. Jackie.
So funny, Dr.
Yeah.
Jack.
You have
Okay,
to pick where you're going to put your energy. And
understand.
YouTube, I've done it. And,
You're
you
moving
know,
on. So, okay, what is the next chapter of Jackie Beat?
I have a lot of stuff coming up, but one of my favorite things is we're doing a show called Jurassic Drag. Yeah,
Jurassic Drag. I love it.
starring 4 of the really legendary queens, myself, Sherry Vine, Coco Peru, and Varla Jean Merman. We did it in New York. We did it in San Francisco. We're trying to do a full tour. And we are going to be doing it at Oscars downtown in Palm Springs on November 1st, which is the first day of Palm Springs Pride. And it's the four of us, which is just kind of like, it would be like Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger,
Amazing.
David Bowie and Prince. It'd be like four titans of drag coming together for Jurassic Drag, and we make fun of the fact that we're old.
I love it. But getting old and getting still glamorous and fabulous is always a plus. You make all the women jealous of you.
Well, I don't think they want to look like a rodeo clown /
No,
whore.
but it's not about how you look. It's about the attitude.
Well, I've said this before.
It's the attitude that's the
This
most
is
amazing
why
thing.
a lot of people in show business are like, Jackie, do not tell people how old you are. But I need to do it because the kids need to know. I'm not doing high kicks. I'm not doing splits.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not doing acrobatics on stage. I may not wear the high heels, but fierce, fabulous, and funny has no expiration date.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And on this note, I want to thank you so much,
Thank
Jackie,
you so
for joining the
much.
podcast. Big kiss.
From a distance. It was worth driving an hour.